Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis R. Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. I often talk about change because really, what else is more constant than change, right? And each of us has an inner knowing of what next steps to take in our life. Like we kind of know what we should be doing, but we often don't do those things. And I think for the most part, most people don't make shifts or do the changes that we know we should be doing or really kind of need to be doing or want to be doing because we're afraid of the unknown and of what the unknown requires of us. So I want to talk today about how taking chances in life really brings us closer to the things that we dream about. So the tarot deck has 72 cards in it, beginning with the number 0. And this card is called the Fool. This is the major arcana. The tarot is divided into two parts. The major arcana, cards 0 to 21, and the remaining cards are called minor arcana, and they're called suit cards. And they represent each of the 4 elements: air, earth, fire, and water. And if you don't know tarot, don't worry about trying to understand today because you will. But if you have opportunity, because divination cards are really, really cool, and the tarot deck in and of itself, the traditional tarot deck by Rider-Waite is the deck that I'm referring to. Go look it up. Go get yourself a deck. Go see what it's all about, because using tarot cards is one of the most fascinating things ever. So the title for this card, The Fool, might sound really weird, and it might even make you think that, well, hell, if the Fool card is pulled, well, then that must mean I'm a fool. But that's not the case. It depends on, of course, it could imply you're a fool, but it depends on if it's upside, right side up, or in reverse. And also, it has to do, the definition of and the purpose of the card in your reading has to do with everything around that card, all the other cards that are pulled. And while today is not a tarot card class day, I like to teach y'all about it and different things connected to it. So as I was talking about, the Fool is numbered 0, the number of unlimited potential. And so it doesn't have a specific place in the sequence of the tarot cards, interestingly enough. And the Fool can be placed either at the beginning of the major arcana or at the end. And the major arcana is often considered what's called, interestingly enough, the Fool's journey through life. And as such, he is ever present in all the other cards, and therefore he doesn't need a number. So, like I said, the major arcana, and I'll get to that, I'll probably be repeating this again. The major arcana is one part of the deck, and it really represents the significant things in our life, right? So, the Fool goes through various experiences to get to the ultimate place of reaching its destiny. And it really is about a young man who stands on the edge of a cliff. So if you're to look at the card, and if you feel like it, even right now, you can pause this recording and go look up the Fool in the Fool in tarot, and you'll be able to look at the imagery as I describe it. So he's a young man who stands on the edge of a cliff without a care in the world, and as he sets out on a new adventure, so he's gazing upwards towards the sky, the universe, and is seemingly unaware that he's about to skip off a precipice into the unknown. Over his shoulder rests a modest knapsack containing everything he needs, which really isn't much. Let's just say he's a minimalist. The white rose in his left hand represents his purity and innocence, and at his feet is a small white dog representing loyalty and protection that encourages him to charge forward and learn the lessons he's come to learn. The mountains behind the fool symbolize the changes yet to come. They are forever present, but the fool doesn't care about them right now. He's more focused on starting his expedition. I remember hearing a story about two entertainers who both performed on stage in their own shows. Each was famous and well known. This is a very true story. I think Bruce Springsteen was one of these people, and I can't remember the other person, but I read this somewhere years ago. And when each was asked what they felt right before they got up on stage, they had really different answers. One entertainer said that he felt such excitement in the moments leading up to his first steps on the stage that he couldn't contain himself. And then the other entertainer said that he was a ball of nerves and that the moments just before he stepped up on stage were terrifying. Interesting how the same situation can be experienced in different ways, huh? And depending on how you perceive it, right? Did you know that anxiety and excitement are the same energy? The only difference between the two is how the person chooses to perceive a situation. So, what does this have to do with the title of today's podcast? The move that you're afraid to make could be the one that changes everything. I tell you that story because I want you to start to look at how you approach life as more of a choice rather than just the automatic experience of having a feeling and letting that feeling rule your decisions. I've always told clients that decisions aren't hard to make. They really aren't. What makes them hard is the emotions that we have attached to them. And I'm going to be talking more about that concept in next week's episode. But suffice it to say that if you're in a situation and you know you always have a choice about how you perceive that situation, then you have the capacity to talk yourself into feeling any kind of way that you want to feel about it. And we do it all the time, whether we're conscious of it or not. We are great self-convincers of how we feel. Making moves in life is the same thing. We're always presented with opportunities to stretch ourselves and grow. And sometimes those opportunities scare the living shit out of us. I know, been there, done that. And some of those really scary opportunities are of our own making. Isn't that weird? Like we call those really scary opportunities in. And we just need to take the next step into the leg of our journey to kind of move beyond the scary. And then there are those times where the universe realizes that we've overstayed our welcome in certain situations, and on our behalf, it causes the situation to implode. And as a result, we are thrown out of our comfort zone, very often on our proverbial asses. I'll still talk about this more in next week's episode. I recently let somebody go from my life who was pivotal in my personal growth. These were some harsh lessons that I had to learn from this person, but I needed this person to be my teacher. My pain and grief really taught me well. And I worked my ass off to get right with myself after I let this person go and to clean up my side of the street. And honest to God, I am so grateful to be equipped with the strength and fortitude to literally usher myself into acute emotional pain. Okay, I put myself there, y'all, and then usher myself right back out of it onto the other side where I've been able to achieve peace and happiness. But I apparently needed some help from the universe to finally pull the trigger on that connection. Even though I knew that this connection wasn't optimal for my life, there was love there. And I was willing to put in the work to help things along, but the other person wasn't. And it took the universe pushing me to hear one particular sentence from this person, oddly enough, to get me to a place where I said, you know what? I'm out. I'm out. Cannot move forward from here. I experienced yet another relationship implosion, heartbreak, and then healing. And the beautiful thing is that when you get on the other side of the pain, the view is stunning. There have been plenty of other times in my life where I have been faced with the decision to remain in my comfort zone or to step outside of it and to see what was available to me. And as I've gotten older, I've cared less and less about taking a leap of faith on my own behalf. And the reason why I have become increasingly more fearless, in other words, I'm okay doing it. I don't care that I have to do it because I know that's just part of my life's journey. There are times where I don't want to. Like you, we want certain things to stay the same. We want them to be what we want them to be. And then we stay in that place of trying to add colors to a painting, and they're like they're watercolors, so they can just be washed off. We got to get out. So, as I've said, as I get older, I care less and less about having to make change. And because of that, I know I can handle whatever happens in my life. And I'm armed with the knowledge that whatever happens, it's always for my highest good, whether I like it or not. I'm good with that. Now, I may not like a particular result, but outcomes in life are almost never about getting what you want. The universe doesn't work that way, y'all. And if you're keen to how the universe works, you kind of know this already. You always, always, always get what you need, even if you do the choosing. So all the times I fell on my ass, and y'all, let me tell you, more than you could possibly know, I got back up because I believed in so many things, and I tried again and again and again. I've never given up on myself, my dreams. I've never given up on love, on success, on fulfilling my purpose, on being the truest and highest expression of myself. I'm driven, I realized. I'm driven towards happiness. And I believe that it really is a choice that I've made to be driven that way. I wasn't born that way. I have become an optimist, a realist, and somebody who absolutely knows that my life is to be of service. I cultivated optimism, and I look for the silver lining in everything. I really try to, in the lesson in everything. And I constantly work on understanding people, understanding myself, situations, and how I show up in my own life, what I call in. There's no shocker. You can't be shocked by the things that happen in your life. Well, you can, but if you understand how the universe works, you know that everybody in your life is a mirror for you, that they're there because you've called them in, right? Because you needed them to show you something about yourself that either you were doing right or that you needed to fix. And that version of myself, the one that's like, yeah, I still want to, I'm in, I'm willing to go through pain to be better. That version of myself still gets scared sometimes. I still feel uncertain. I still doubt myself at times. And I still question why things don't work out the way I want them to. I do get pissed off about that sometimes, y'all. I'm human. What can I say? But I always come back to what my soul knows, which is that the universe always has my back. I may not know that in the moment. I may not know that when something is taken away from me. But I always come back to that. And I'm always I know this, I'm always exactly where I need to be for myself and for those in my life who I'm supposed to impact the most and influence the most. So in my heart, I know I'm good. I don't like to wait for things to happen. But this is another lesson outside of a lot of my romantic karma I've had to freaking settle. Patience, being able to be okay waiting. Those are other things that I've had to learn in this lifetime. I never want to be a person who's scared of life or making choices. I really don't. That paralyzes me. And we often need to garner up courage to make choices that seem hard. But what we perceive as hard or risky is only in our head. Swear, y'all, it's the thoughts we have, the perceptions we choose to have, right? That make things either exciting or scary as hell. Henry Ford is quoted as saying, "If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you're always right." So there is choice in how we see things. There is choice in how we experience things. There is choice in how we talk to ourselves about ourselves and our lives and the people in it and the things we go through. And there is always, always, always choice when it comes to how you show up in your own life. Always. I said take the risk. Make that move that scares the shit out of you. You'll know that the move is right when in your fear you feel a little bit excited, right? When you know that your safety is not at risk. That's the important thing to think about. When you take a risk and you know that you're not going to be harmed. You may be stung. You're emotionally stung, but you're not harmed. You got to do it. You got to do it because every time you defy your fear, you just get stronger and bolder. And my dear, that is when you need to be foolish as hell and take a leap of faith in your own, as my daddy used to say, enlightened self-interest. You got to jump. I can almost guarantee that where you land will be as surprising and wonderful as you could possibly have imagined. And I can't wait to meet you on the other side of your leap. I'll be there, maybe in person for some of y'all, maybe in spirit for others. And as the title of this podcast says, the move that you're afraid to make could be the one that changes everything. So go ahead, my friend. Jump. The universe, trust me, has got your back. I wish you a wonderful day, a blessed week, and as always, live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend. And be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.